Japan has found its Smash killer. There's been a quick rise in popularity for the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 1 game in Japan, and this had quite a few effects on the scene in America. So for one, it got us talking about the game again, and it allowed us on Twitter to see a bunch of people from a completely different country playing the game and experiencing things that we've experienced 1,000 times for their very first time, which in my opinion is just the coolest thing ever. We got to see people react about character archetypes, the meta, as well as just learning characters for the first time, which was really cool to see. This all started due to a price drop in Japan of 98% off. So in USD, that would be a 67-cent game. On the Nintendo eShop, this became the highest selling game in Japan during the week this deal started. Once people started buying it, quickly, two events had happened. First week of the sale, Nick Brawl 1, a Japanese NAS1 tournament had started, which had 9 entrants. Only a couple days later, they hosted Nick Brawl 2 online, and this had 18 entrants, doubling the entrant count. This was all centralized in the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, or the Japan Nick Brawl Discord server, and it started off fairly small, and I had joined fairly early on once it was up and running. But quickly, lots of Japan players of the game had started getting the game, started playing it, and finding this Discord server, whether they had played in the tournament or just been playing on quick play. Even top players like Shuton from Smash Ultimate have started playing Nick Brawl, and while he hasn't entered any tournaments yet, he may do so in the near future. In my opinion, would be a really cool thing to see for the game. The meta for Japan looks somewhat similar to the US, but there are some key differences that are pretty interesting to discuss. So I start off, Japan is very aware of the fact that Sandy is probably the best character in the game, with their tier list putting her at number 1. The second has CatDog at number 2, Aang at 3, Leonardo at 4, Lucy at 5, SpongeBob at 6, April at 7th in A tier, Nigel at 8th, Danny, Garfield, Mikey, and Oblina also in the rest of A tier. As for their B tiers, they have Ren and Stimpy, followed by Zim, Reptar, Lincoln Loud, Helga, Toph, Powdered Toastman, Shredder, and in C tier, they have Jenny, Hugh, Rocco, Patrick, and Korra. There are a lot of differences between this and the official Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl tier list made in the US, which you can find on C10's channel with the breakdown, but here are the main things that I noticed. The main thing is that CatDog, Aang, Leonardo, Lucy, and SpongeBob, and Sandy included in this, all are fairly easy to start off characters in terms of their simplicity. So it makes sense as to why they'd be put as high as they are on tier lists. CatDog with his combos are fairly simple to do, with up tilt into sup air, or just his up air drill combos, even if they aren't true, are easy to hit and master. And Snare itself is also a very strong tool that people will take advantage of. Aang has his Nair bending in that game, where he literally can just use light Nair into itself with fast falling to get some easy damage, as well as his light down air and snare and dare, all being very strong tools to edge guard people effectively. And it doesn't take too much effort. Leonardo, it just has large disjoints that have the ability to combo into each other, with light nair, light up air, and down air all being really good tools for it, and very simple to use, similar to other characters in this S tier. Lucy, interestingly, is not a character I would say simple, but she also doesn't have too complex of normal light buttons, with her up air also sending up just straight up and comboing into itself at percents, her light nair, which can hit forward or the bite, or her light down air, which can spike or kill early and take percents pretty quickly. While this is an early NES1 with double daring and such like that, where Lucy was very good, her dare is still really good. And SpongeBob has the same story, where he's not as good as he was early on, but the meta still allows for him to get these double dares on bad DI. And with him, it's kind of the same story. He has got really easy up airs into sup air. He's got a good nair that you can combo into itself. Is really easy to get going with dash canceling, and some of their players are already doing this, but it's really interesting to see them develop this list and to see how their meta will be different than theirs. Some notable things about character placements are other good characters like Danny, Garfield, Oblina, and Mikey are all in A tier at least, but they aren't as highly considered as great characters as they are in the US just yet. But I have a feeling that'll either change as time goes on, or we'll see their own meta from Japan take over. One notable drop in results in terms of the placement on this list is Jenny, who they actually have as bottom 5 in the game, which I find very interesting. In the States, she's very good, but there's also a lot of representatives of her in the States, and that may also cause the change in drop-off. But it's really interesting to see how different these metas are. I know there's a Japanese Jenny player, and we'll have to see as time goes on what their thoughts are and how the game changes, which is really exciting to see in my opinion, just because you get to see this completely different group of people who've never like really interacted with the game before, learn it for the first time, have their matches, have their tournaments, and really get to discuss and figure out everything this game has to offer, which is just really fun to see as an outsider. As of recording this video, I've had some issues finding the second Nick Brawl StartGG website, so if you happen to have a link to it directly, I'd really appreciate it, but if not, that's okay too. But one last thing that I'll be talking about in this video specifically is the idea of what it means for a game to be dead. Because for NAS1, a lot of people throughout its lifespan, even in NAS2 and other platform fighters, have said that this game or that game or whatever is dead. There's nobody playing it. It's dead. And even though that's never true, because obviously there were plenty of people playing it in NAS1 back when it released, and even months and years into when it was out, because I was around it all the time, right? So what does it truly mean for a game to be dead? So I would say that for a game to truly be dead, you'd have to not be able to play it at all, and it would have to, like, the online would have to not be able to work. There's no way to host tournaments for it, like in person. Like, there would have to be some way for you literally to never be able to play it ever again, which unfortunately is happening to a game like Duck Game, where it is actually being delisted from Steam and other online stores, and it'll only be playable if you have it downloaded, or if you can find a pirated copy of it, which is unfortunate. It's hard to say if its internet online will still work. Luckily, it is peer-to-peer, so it's thought that it should be able to still work with a friend online. But if your game has servers, it would be hard to play if the servers get shut down, right? But I definitely wouldn't say NAS1 was ever a dead game. And to see an entirely new audience of people from an entirely different country pick it up years after it had its highest success, you know, and to see it have a lot of life and fans, and to see a community be like created from nothing is really awesome. In my humble opinion, I don't think games really ever die. I just think that they're waiting to be picked up by someone else. Thanks for watching this video, and if you like this video and you like me covering the Japan Nick scene, make sure to let me know by giving this video a like and giving it a comment on what you'd like to see discussed about this scene in the future. And I think I do plan on making more content about them, but we'll see on just exactly what that'll be, whether it's just a breakdown of tournaments, or whether that will be just like discussing Cat Dog, maybe with someone who plays them over there in Japan. I'm not too familiar with everybody within the scene, but there are some big names to know that have been making this possible to play. There are some great players over there, namely, I'm going to butcher this, but there's Masan, Lamozana. I'm so bad with names. I feel like I don't even want to butcher these, but on screen you'll see some of the players from the StartGG results. And yeah, these are just the players that get to play Nick Brawl over there. And it's just really awesome to see, you know? So, once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.